Hey everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today, I'll be making a video, what if Shimo had killed everyone? So, what would have happened in this scenario? Because I sound out of breath. I'm kind of sick while recording this, so if you do hear any sniffs and stuff like that, it's probably because I'm sick while recording this video. But I hope you guys will enjoy this video though. So, how about we get started and ignore how sick I am. So, let's get started. Our story begins in the Great Titan War between Godzillas and Great Apes. So, let's get into this. Scar King had finally conquered everything but was locked away by Godzilla. Godzilla, being the Great Titan, and Gojira had locked them away for centuries on end. Until the day they arrived in the Shimo cave. This event would have changed everything, thanks to Scar King's more brutalish act in this, made Shimo do what she did in this timeline. So, Scar King and his forces arrive in Shimo's cave, being an icy, hellish cave, where she was minding her own business with her baby, little baby Shimo. Scar King looking straight at Shimo with menacing eyes. Shimo looking back. She told her baby to run, to get out of here before Scar King could get to her. Scar King ordered his forces to get that baby and restrain Shimo. Still in this timeline, his forces were strong but not strong enough. Shimo running towards all of the forces of Scar King, roaring in defiance. She's tearing his forces apart like paper with a hot butter knife. Like butter through knife. Like it's a knife through butter. So, Shimo claws at them like it's just a birthday party, like a piñata, where you use a bat to beat up the llama or whatever. So, Shimo claws through all of the Scar King's forces, but yet Scar King himself has yet to come here. They all stab at Shimo, jab at her, giving her injuries. Scar King at the point also throwing his spear and hitting Shimo straight in the leg, roaring in pain because it was a Gojira dorsal plate made to pierce anything. It was a thick one made out of one of the elite Gojiras. Scar King, yet in more defiance, kept lunging at Shimo, jabbing at her, and kept stabbing at her. More of his forces getting ripped apart. But yet, the little baby Shimo froze one of the guards' neck, and Shimo smashed it. His head sent flying across the room like a footy. The guard's body crushes to the ground. Baby Shimo is still on the run, but Scar King and his forces still push on Shimo. In this timeline, Scar King had more forces. His forces kept jabbing at Shimo. He kept jabbing at Shimo. And yet when he finally got the chance, he lunged over Shimo, doing a backflip, stabbing her all over, stabbing her 3 times in the process and giving her big scars. She didn't keep an eye on Scar. She kept an eye on Scar repeatedly, but really did he not prepare for was Shimo's frostbite blast. Shimo charges up her frost blast and shoots it at Scar King. Scar King running away. All of his forces being freezed and destroyed by Shimo. Most of his forces are gone. 60% of them are gone. Most of his weakened forces now have retreated to the back, and yet had formed a base out of rocks quickly. It was not the most salvageable base, but yet they charged at Shimo again, throwing spears. It bounced off Shimo, not being a Gojira dorsal plate. But at the end, could Shimo really win this alone? Scar King and his forces kept overwhelming Shimo. Shimo, being overwhelmed by all of the forces, have now has now succumbed to her injuries, and yet fell to the ground unconscious for a little bit, but got back up. She punches a hole straight through one of the guards, killing him instantly. One of Scar King's strongest forces. But little did he know, a sad ending would come for Shimo. Shimo's baby died. Looking back in the corner of her eye, she saw Scar King ripping out a crystal out of baby Shimo's back, killing her baby instantly. Shimo roars out in sadness. She starts crying. Now everything, it became a hail, a blizzard in that cave. The great apes couldn't sustain it and succumbed to all of it. Nothing remained but just 3 great apes and Scar King. She froze the remaining forces, and Scar King rose the crystal straight at Shimo. Shimo bashing her head against the icy landscape, but didn't care. She kept lunging towards Scar King. He thought the crystal would work, but pain was just her only fuel of source. She lunged at Scar King and pinned him to the floor, ripping all of his limbs. Wait, mate. She snaps all of his limbs and rips them off slowly, one by one. Scar King roaring out in pain and still alive, and yet Shimo puts her claw on Scar King's head, slowly pushing all of her height into that one claw. It crushes Scar King's head and his skull, his brain splattering everywhere. His head becoming a bloody mess. Once became Scar King, his whole body was spread across the whole room, being destroyed. Nothing remained of Scar King, just his intestines and all of his body parts everywhere. When Shimo finally destroyed Scar King's head, she destroyed his body as well. She breaks out of the cave, now furious. She now absorbs energy, being all red, but she couldn't sustain consciousness for long. She collapses, taking a nap. She awakens after 3 weeks because of her injuries. She gets back up, being weakened. She kills warbots and eats them. She absorbs energy, trying to heal her wounds, but the wounds are so powerful because of the Gojira dorsal plates being charged up. Her scars now being all battle ready. They should have noticed her. There were still remnants of Scar King's forces, trying to obtain that crystal, but Shimo wouldn't allow it. She killed most of the forces, only remaining 10 great apes, the most powerful, led by the rival. Shimo finally found the rival and his forces. In this timeline, the rival did not stay on the surface. He was banished to Hollow Earth by Godzilla. Shimo finds the rival, and yet now she finds herself ready. All of her battle injuries from Scar King's army 3 months ago have now healed into scars, and now she has been supercharged by Hollow Earth energy, and the rival also being supercharged with Hollow Earth energy. They both charge at each other, with the rival's forces lunging first, and the rival lunging to lead the charge. His fur had become gray, and he had electricity coursing through his veins. He punches Shimo repeatedly in the face with electricity, but little did he know, it didn't really matter to Shimo. Shimo grabbed the rival's arm, throwing him across the landscape, throwing him down. The rival gets back up to his feet just to see more great apes being torn apart. Yet he was just knocked down for a minute, and all of a sudden, only 5 great apes remained. Shimo was so fast that she killed all of them. The rival had to retreat, but it was too late. She froze his leg in place, breaking it instantly. He was not ready for this fight, was he? But yet his foot still remained intact, but not frostbite. She still fought with the rival. They went on for a day. But yet the rival had succumbed to his injuries and yet died. By Shimo finally grabbing his neck and grabbing his shoulder and then ripping him in half, a leg and arm missing and a body part missing. Most of his body was missing with a leg and arm attached to it. The other part was thrown off and the rival died. This events would have fast forward more all the way to the GVK events. In this timeline, Godzilla evolved way more quickly this time, knowing that Shimo's threat was growing. Shimo waited it out in Hollow Earth, waiting for Godzilla anytime, but yet noticed that she heard Ghidorah's alpha call but chose to ignore it, knowing that if Ghidorah found out about Hollow Earth, and she knew that she emerged from Hollow Earth, she knew this place was doomed to fall by Ghidorah and the Titans. The Titans were ferocious. They would have absorbed every ounce of energy, and she swore to protect this realm. And yet swore revenge on the surface. So, she waited more years after Ghidorah's death. After King Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla were defeated, Godzilla went to go find Tiamat. Tiamat being, of course, killed Typhon before the events of GXK, and had killed Typhon way more earlier in this timeline. Wait, no, she's killed Typhon before the events of GVK, I think, but okay. So, Godzilla does kill Tiamat and evolve with her DNA and waits for it. Meanwhile, while Kong is in Hollow Earth, because Godzilla missed out on the chance to attack him, he noticed that icy landscapes were everywhere. But yet, Shima was underground. Her power had reached the mere surface. Kong had acquired his axe in this timeline, and yet he slept. Until a day would come with Shimo breaking out of the icy landscape. Kong was confused. Who was she? And how did she get up here? She broke, thinking this was another one of Scar King's forces. She roars out of anger, knowing that she left one of them alive to be more powerful. She lunges towards Kong, but Kong dodging her attacks. He quickly lunges towards Shimo, stabbing her with his axe deep into her side. But little did he know her hide had grown way more stronger than GXK. She grabs Kong's arm and throws him everywhere, thrashing him across the landscape and throwing him across. Kong knew if he tried to go close to Shimo, because he knew he had frostbite everywhere now because of her landscape. He didn't know how to defeat her. She was too powerful at this point. Shimo charged up her frostbite blast, firing it at Kong. Kong knew what it was and dodged out of the way. When this kept firing, he knew if he tried to block it with his axe, it wouldn't work, because he's seen this frostbite blast before. Let's just say because in this timeline, Kong had encountered a frostvark that was like the size of like nearly the size of Kong, and yet was like the leader, putting them in a domain, and yet this one had like frostbite blast and everything. Kong still fought with Shimo, but fell to her supreme coldness. In dominance, Shimo finally kills Kong by ripping his arm off in the process and stomping on his chest, freezing his whole body and crushing it, flinged into pieces. And then she arrives in Egypt, where she finds an evolved Godzilla waiting for her. Godzilla roars out in frustration, knowing that she was the one causing all that trouble in Hollow Earth this whole time. But he could also sense another presence, something the humans were building. After Mechagodzilla's defeat, they were working on something more sinister. Alan Jonah and his crew recovered Ghidorah's heads and tried to recover what they could build with it, because Mechagodzilla was such a failure, and it couldn't even beat an amped Godzilla. He was meant to beat the most strongest of titans, but yet could not beat an amped Godzilla or this timeline. Since Godzilla did not fight Kong in this timeline, Mechagodzilla fell pretty easily to Godzilla. So Ghidorah's skulls and cells were experimented on with technology, bringing back parts of him. But the battle raged on in Egypt, where Godzilla clawed at Shimo, being in a supercharged form in an evolved, and Shimo also being supercharged. They fought ferociously at each other, clawing at each other. Godzilla fired his beam, his atomic blast, that eventually hit Shimo off balance, throwing her off of her feet. She was sent flying over. Since this was a more powerful attack and hit Shimo, Shimo was weakened. Shimo then charged towards Godzilla again. Godzilla doing the same, both low on radiation. But they both know that one of them is coming out of alive. Shimo's stomach being ripped open from the attack. Godzilla in the process also got his stomach ripped open by Shimo's claw attack. They both knew that they were weakened. So Godzilla hits her with a tail swipe on the head, drawing blood again. From the same scar on her face, bled more. More blood gushing out. Shimo charged at Godzilla, biting on him and throwing him across the city. Godzilla's intestines spilling all over again. Shimo's intestines spilling from the attack as well. Godzilla gets up and gets ready to fire his attack, but Shimo fires first, freezing Godzilla's intestines. Mothra arrives on the scene to aid Goji in the process of healing his intestines back into place, but also healing Shimo's. Shimo gets back onto her feet, being energized again. She then lunges back at Godzilla and becomes more stronger. Thanks to the more Titan radiation, Mothra falls. Godzilla absorbs her energy, but yet has to go back into hiding because of Shimo. Shimo, being more powerful than ever, absorbs more of Mothra's energy than Godzilla does, and freezing the hailstorm over. Godzilla retreats to lay in his lair, absorbing more of the supercharged Tiamat's energy. But back at an Apex Remnant headquarters, they had built the ultimate Titan killer. Mecha Ghidorah was being built in there, knowing the humans could not beat Shimo in a one-on-one encounter with their equipment right now. The Titans were reigning across the world, but King Ghidorah, the Mecha Ghidorah this time, was sent to subdue Shimo and the Titans, being way more powerful, and yet actually would be able to beat evolved Godzilla in an encounter. They supercharged it with Tiamat's energy, now being able to match Shimo's. Obviously, this is one of the most powerful Titans, but yet this DNA would have been more useful to them, and yet they revived Ghidorah's cells that were damaged, being able to let them heal and regenerate most of his body, but was still super damaged. But Mecha Ghidorah wouldn't go down without a fight. The humans would have 2 heads normally, mechanical wings, mechanical body, equipped with more weapons, being built to be stronger than its normal self. The metal head in the middle being replaced, but the real head was under it. But the humans were able to control it this time, because they took more time to control it. But meanwhile, the Titans were attacking everywhere. Rodan attacking Rome. Scylla and Tiamat are dead, so Baphomet attacking London. More Titans awake. Quetzalcoatl attacking everywhere. Skullcrawlers awakening as well. More Titans awaken across the world. It's impossible. Methuselah awakens. Behemoth awakens. Everything awakens. But this also sends a familiar call to the Mecha Ghidorah. Mecha Ghidorah senses Shimo's presence and can feel every Titan. But meanwhile, while they pilot it and get ready to take off, Ghidorah was watching from the back. Knowing the humans could not know how to manage his controls, Ghidorah takes over the body and destroys the remnants and takes off. With Alan Jonah being dead now, Ghidorah tries to fly and find Godzilla on his quest of revenge. But yet, this is where our story concludes, with the cells being reignited and Ghidorah being revitalized again. This is where our story ends. A part 2 will be coming soon enough. Mecha Ghidorah will fight with Shimo, Godzilla, and the Titans. A 1v1v battle. There's 3 sides. So I hope you guys enjoy this what if. The reawakening of King Ghidorah, because Isla de Mara, like the head, before the head would have been purified into bone, they would have taken most of Ghidorah's flesh off it, and yet revitalized most of it, putting most of it into repairing Ghidorah's body, knowing one singular head could revive a whole body, but yet this was one of the stupid heads. So it couldn't really do that yet. But if it was the middle or left head, it would have been, or the right head, it would have been able to do it. So, hope you guys enjoyed this what if. This will conclude for now. This will take a few more episodes, so there will be more episodes instead of this one. So I hope you guys enjoy this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Waiting for part 2. I accidentally burped. So wait for part 2, but a next what if will be coming next. More what ifs will be coming next before this one releases. So I hope you guys enjoy this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.